North Korea. Just the name makes people think of secrets, mysteries, and even fear. This enigmatic nation, shrouded in secrecy, has long been a subject of global intrigue. North Korea, officially the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, is closed off from the world, with tightly controlled borders and strict surveillance. To understand North Korea today, we need to look back at its troubled past. The Korean peninsula was split in two after World War II, creating a lasting impact. From 1910 to 1945, Korea was under Japan's control, facing oppression and hardship. After Japan's defeat in 1945, Korea became a battleground for influence between the Soviet Union and the United States, leading to its division. The 38th parallel became a heavily guarded border, splitting Korea in two. The DMZ stands as a stark reminder of this division. North Korea was born with Kim Il-sung as its leader. He used propaganda to craft an image of himself as a godlike hero. His son, Kim Jong-il, continued this legacy, maintaining strict control over the nation. Today, Kim Jong-un rules with the same iron grip. The dynasty remains unbroken, shaping North Korea's future. North Korea's military ambitions, particularly its nuclear program, continue to be a source of international tension. Amidst the tension, North Koreans find moments of joy in state-organized events and festivals, offering a glimpse into their cultural life. North Korea's story is one of contrasts and complexities, a nation divided by history, yet united under a dynasty that shapes its destiny. In 2011, Kim Jong-un became the leader after his father, Kim Jong-il, passed away. This marked the continuation of the Kim dynasty, a family that has ruled North Korea with an iron fist since its founding. The world watched, wondering what kind of leader this young, relatively unknown figure would become. The world saw a young, inexperienced leader. Many speculated whether he could handle the immense pressure and responsibility. His youth and inexperience were points of concern. But Kim Jong-un quickly showed his toughness. He made high-profile appearances at military parades, showcasing his command over the armed forces. He started removing anyone he thought might challenge him, even executing some. This was a clear signal that he would not tolerate dissent or opposition. His regime was characterized by a ruthless approach to governance, where loyalty was demanded and fear was a primary tool of control. One of the most shocking things Kim Jong-un did early on was to execute his own uncle, Jang Song-thaek, in 2013. Jang was a highly influential figure in the government. His execution was a dramatic and shocking move. It was a clear message that no one was safe from his wrath if they were perceived as a threat. Jang was accused of betraying the country and being corrupt. The charges were severe, including allegations of plotting to overthrow the government. He was publicly removed from power and then executed. This act was meant to eliminate any potential threat to Kim Jong-un's rule. This sent a scary message: disobey the young leader, and this could happen to you. The atmosphere in North Korea became even more oppressive, with fear permeating every level of society. Kim Jong-un continued to use the scary prison camps that North Korea is infamous for. These camps are places of unimaginable suffering, where human rights are non-existent. These camps are known for being extremely cruel and inhumane. Prisoners face harsh conditions, with little food, inadequate medical care, and constant surveillance. People are sent there for speaking out against the government, for being seen as enemies, or even for small mistakes. The regime's use of these camps is a stark reminder of the lengths it will go to maintain its grip on power. The fear of being sent to these camps is a powerful deterrent against dissent and opposition. Forced labor, torture, starvation, and executions are normal in these camps. The conditions are so harsh that many do not survive their sentences. People who have escaped tell terrifying stories about what life is like inside. Their testimonies paint a grim picture of a regime that rules through fear and brutality. These testimonies are not just stories of suffering, but also of hope and resilience. They highlight the strength and courage of those who have managed to escape and share their experiences with the world. The international community has a crucial role to play in addressing these abuses. Human rights organizations and activists continue to raise awareness and push for change. The Kim family stays in power by making sure everyone knows how strong their military is. North Korea has one of the biggest armies globally, with about 1.2 million soldiers ready to fight. They have a policy called Songun, which means the military comes first. This way of thinking affects everything in North Korea. The whole world knows North Korea for its nuclear weapons and missiles. Kim Jong-un, just like his father, really wants nuclear weapons. He keeps testing them, even though other countries don't like it, and have put sanctions on North Korea. Even though North Korea doesn't have much money and many people are poor, the government spends most of its money on the military. Because of this, other important things like hospitals, schools, and roads are in bad shape. Most North Koreans barely have enough food to eat, but Kim Jong-un and his close group of leaders live like kings. Kim Jong-un has a super fancy lifestyle, which is the total opposite of how most North Koreans live. We've heard about his huge collection of expensive cars, fancy food brought in from other countries, and even his own private yacht. All this while his people don't have enough food and can't get basic things they need. The Kim family lives in huge, luxurious homes hidden away from everyone else. Pictures taken from space show these places have private golf courses, swimming pools, and beautiful gardens. Kim Jong-un even has his own private cinema, where he can watch any movie he wants. There's also a private amusement park with luxury rides, just for him and his inner circle. He has access to high-end electronics, designer clothes, and other imported luxury goods. Meanwhile, the average North Korean struggles to find basic necessities and lives in dilapidated homes. Kim Jong-un is known for throwing lavish parties and extravagant celebrations, showcasing his opulence. All this luxury is maintained while the regime focuses on military parades and propaganda events to project power. The stark contrast between the elite's opulence and the citizens' hardship is a glaring example of inequality in North Korea. For regular North Koreans, life is a constant fight to survive. Every day is a battle against hunger, poverty, and oppression. The harsh realities of daily life are a stark contrast to the propaganda that paints a picture of a thriving nation. People are often seen scavenging for food, and many rely on the black market to meet their basic needs. The struggle is not just physical, but also mental, as the constant pressure to conform and the fear of punishment weigh heavily on their minds. The government controls almost everything in their lives, like where they work, where they live, what they learn in school, and even who they can be friends with. This level of control leaves little room for personal freedom or choice. The state dictates the curriculum in schools, ensuring that the teachings align with the regime's ideology. Children are indoctrinated from a young age, learning to revere the leaders and distrust the outside world. Families live in constant fear of being reported by neighbors or even their own children, who are encouraged to spy on their parents. They watch and control everything. Surveillance is everywhere, making it impossible for people to express dissent or even think freely. The omnipresent surveillance creates an environment of paranoia, where every word and action is scrutinized. People are aware that they are being watched, and this knowledge stifles any potential for rebellion or even casual conversation about their hardships. The fear of being sent to a labor camp for the slightest infraction is ever present. There's a system called Songbun that's like a caste system. It categorizes people into different classes based on their family's loyalty to the government. This system is deeply ingrained in society and affects every aspect of a person's life. Those in the higher echelons of Songbun enjoy privileges such as better housing, education, and job opportunities, while those in the lower classes face discrimination and limited prospects. The system perpetuates inequality and ensures that loyalty to the regime is rewarded, while dissent is punished. It decides what you can and can't do based on how loyal your family is to the government. This system affects every aspect of life, from job opportunities to education. Even marriage prospects are influenced by Songbun, as families seek to align themselves with those of similar or higher status. The constant need to prove loyalty to the regime creates a society where genuine relationships are rare, and trust is a luxury few can afford. Not having enough to eat is a big problem in North Korea. Food scarcity is a daily reality for many families. The agricultural sector is underdeveloped, and natural disasters often exacerbate the situation. The government's mismanagement and prioritization of military spending over food production have led to chronic shortages. People often resort to foraging for wild plants or trading on the black market to supplement their meager rations. People rely on food from the government, but it's often not enough. The rations are meager and inconsistent, leaving many to fend for themselves. The distribution system is plagued by corruption, with officials often skimming off the top, leaving even less for the people. Malnutrition is rampant, and the lack of adequate nutrition has long-term effects on the population's health and productivity. Many people, especially kids, don't get enough food to be healthy. Malnutrition is widespread, affecting the growth and development of the younger generation. Children are particularly vulnerable, with many suffering from stunted growth and developmental delays. The lack of proper nutrition during critical growth periods has lifelong consequences, affecting their ability to learn and thrive. Hospitals are in bad shape and don't have basic medicines. The healthcare system is severely underfunded, making it difficult for people to get the care they need. Medical facilities are often outdated, and the lack of essential supplies means that even treatable conditions can become life-threatening. Healthcare workers do their best with what little they have, but the system is overwhelmed and under-resourced. The government cares more about weapons than its people, and that hurts millions of North Koreans. Resources are diverted to the military, leaving little for the welfare of the citizens. The regime's focus on maintaining a strong military presence comes at the expense of the population's basic needs. This prioritization of military might over human welfare is a stark reminder of the regime's values and the suffering it inflicts on its people. People in North Korea are not free to say what they think. Fear of punishment keeps them silent, creating an atmosphere of constant tension and mistrust. The regime's tight grip on information and communication means that people are isolated, unable to share their true feelings or seek solace in community. This isolation further entrenches the regime's power, as people are too afraid to unite and demand change. One of the most disturbing aspects of Kim Jong-un's rule is the pleasure squad, Gipyeomjong. This is a group of young women chosen to entertain Kim Jong-un and his important friends. It's said that these women are picked when they're young, often from good schools or families that support the government. They're taught to sing, dance, and entertain in other ways, all for the pleasure of North Korea's most powerful men. The government keeps it a secret, so we don't know much about what happens in the pleasure squad. But people who have escaped North Korea say the women are forced to do things, taken advantage of, and abused. The pleasure squad shows how much power the Kim family has over people, especially women. The origins of the pleasure squad date back to Kim Jong-il, Kim Jong-un's father, who also maintained a similar group. Historically, these women were seen as symbols of loyalty and were expected to serve the regime in various capacities. Specific examples include women being trained rigorously in arts and etiquette, ensuring they could meet the high standards set by the regime. Defectors have shared harrowing stories of abuse and exploitation, painting a grim picture of life within the pleasure squad. The existence of the pleasure squad underscores the extreme control and influence the Kim family wields over North Korean society. A few people from other countries get a chance to see what North Korea is like. It's like looking into a place frozen in time. The government needs money, so they let a small number of tourists visit, but it's very controlled. Tourists only see what the government wants them to see. It's like a fake show that hides how bad things really are. Tourists always have government guides with them, telling them where they can and can't go. They can't talk to local people freely, and the government controls everything they see and do. The smiling faces and pretty places hide a much darker truth, a country where people are oppressed, poor, and afraid. Visitors are taken to grand monuments like the Kumsusan Palace of the Sun and the Juche Tower. They also see the Arch of Triumph and the Victorious Fatherland Liberation War Museum. The Pyongyang Metro and the Mansudae Grand Monument are other key stops. Some tours even include a visit to the DMZ and the Kaesong Koryo Museum. Tourists dine in carefully selected restaurants and watch orchestrated performances. They take photos and interact with guides, but always under strict supervision. Their accommodations and shopping experiences are also tightly controlled. When they leave, they take with them a curated image of North Korea, far from the harsh reality faced by its citizens.